My name is Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law, and today I would like to talk about USCIS processing times. Why is it taking USCIS so long to process these cases? I know that if you have a case in process with USCIS, you feel the frustration, and believe me, we do too. So what is going on? Why is it taking so long? The first thing to note is that this video is about USCIS processing times. There are other government agencies that are involved in immigration matters, immigration processing, like the Department of Labor and Department of State. We're not talking about processing times for those particular agencies. We'll cover those in other videos, but today we're only talking about USCIS processing times. So how long will it take once you file your case? That depends on a number of different things. It depends first on what type of case you're talking about. Then it depends on where the case is being processed, which USCIS office. And then it depends on, sadly, or interestingly, which officer you get. And of course, if there are specific issues with your case, issues or concerns with your case. Of course, if you receive a request for evidence, that's going to increase the processing time. But it's people who are processing these files. So it does depend in part on the particular officer that you get or the office that your file is sent to. So how can you tell how long it's going to take? We as immigration attorneys have a couple of different ways that we predict processing times. And they're just predictions. Nobody knows for sure how long a case is going to take, and each case is unique and individual. So the ways that we tell are from the cases, other cases that we file. Our office files dozens of immigration cases per month. And so we're able to compare the immigration cases that we have pending for other clients with the other cases that we have, and just able to have a general sense of how long things take just based on our most recent experience. We also talk to other immigration attorneys and see what their experience is. The other way that we check to estimate USCIS processing times is on the USCIS website. You may think, oh my goodness, Emily, don't tell me to go to the USCIS website, but it is a source of information. The question of whether it's accurate or not, or how accurate it is, could be one that's up for debate, but it is a source of information, and it's really the only source of information that we have directly from the agency as to how long it's taking for them to process cases. So when we're estimating processing times, we go to the USCIS website. If you just Google USCIS and processing times, and I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the website that we go to. As you can see, it's the USCIS website, so it's uscis.gov. You have to select the form number that you are looking for, the type of case, and then sometimes you'll have to select a specific subcategory of that particular type of case. And then you have to select the office where it is. Now that can be tricky because if you file with a lockbox, you may not know, and all of that is dictated by USCIS. We can't choose where to file a petition. There are very specific instructions from USCIS, but if you file with a lockbox, you don't know necessarily. You may be able to tell from the first three letters of the receipt notice that you get once you receive a receipt notice for your case. But keep in mind that files are transferred, cases are transferred within USCIS, so it may be transferred ultimately to a different office. But for example, for this particular type of case, I just randomly selected I-140 petition, which is part of the employment-based green card process, the form category, advanced degree, so the EB-2, and then the Texas Service Center. I clicked get processing times, and the USCIS says that 80% of the cases are processed within 13.5 months. Now, how helpful is that? Because that means 20% of the cases are processed, we suppose, outside of that processing time. So your case could be one of those. So it's a guidepost. It's something to keep in mind. What I think is most helpful about this website is you can enter the date of your receipt. So the receipt, meaning the date that your receipt notice shows that your petition or application was received. I just made this up. I said 5/1/2022, and I said get inquiry date. And it will tell you that the earliest date that you can submit an inquiry, and by that I mean service request, is September 24th, 2023. That's pretty discouraging that it's so far away, but that's what it is. Let's just put in another. I'm going to change this date to 5/1/2020. And it says we can now submit a service request, thankfully. I'm going to change that to 2021. And it says it's processing normally, and the earliest we can submit a question about the case processing is September 24th of 2022. Better than before, but still, that means it's been processing over a year at this particular point. So that's not necessarily encouraging, but that is something that we use, and brings me to my next point. What can you do about these really long USCIS processing times? What you can do is a couple of things. File as early as you possibly can for your immigration benefit. There are a number of different types of petitions and applications where you cannot file, but so early. So for example, for naturalization to become a US citizen, you have to become, or you have to be a permanent resident for at least 5 years before you can file. You can file up to 90 days before, but in most cases, unless you're married to a US citizen and meet that 3-year requirement, you have to wait 5 years. And that's true for a lot of different immigration filings. But if you are eligible per the requirements of the particular benefit that you're seeking, file early, don't wait, because the longer you wait, the longer to file, the longer you're going to wait to get that benefit. So plan ahead and file early. Once you have filed, have patience while you're waiting for the receipt notice. The receipt notice may take several weeks or possibly even months to receive. You can check to see if your check that you used to file has been cashed with the bank, and sometimes the receipt notice is on the back of that check. The other thing that you can do once the petition or application is pending is check this website that I just showed you to see what is the estimated processing time. Is it within reason? Is it within what USCIS is saying? And are you eligible to place what's called a service request? If you place a service request, I describe those as kind of a friendly nudge to the officer to say, hey, the case is outside of processing time, what's going on? You don't actually talk to the officer. You submit a service request online, or you can call USCIS. They will give you a service request number. Make sure that you keep a record of the service request number that you receive. Make sure you make a note of the date that you placed the service request, and keep in mind that you can only place a service request at least, or at a minimum, once, or maximum once every 30 days. So in other words, if you place a service request today on June 28th, 2022, you get a response from USCIS and they say, you should hear back from us by July 13th, for example. Then even if you don't hear back from USCIS until that date, you still have to wait until 30 days after today to place another service request. However, you should keep a log of all of the service requests that you're placing, or if you have an attorney, hopefully you do, your attorney should be keeping a log of all of the service requests placed, so that eventually, if you have to take this a step further and contact the ombudsman, or hopefully you won't have to sue in federal court, but if you did, you have a record of all the attempts that you've made to contact USCIS. So I hope that this information has been helpful. Again, my name is Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law, based in Richmond, Virginia, and serving clients all over the United States. If you have questions, let us know. We're happy to help. We're happy to help our clients navigate this very obtuse and sometimes long immigration journey. Thanks so much.